Welcome to your Dealmaker CRM. Today we're going to be talking about the Dispo app. Now, Dispo is handling the buyer side of things. So in wholesaling, there's two ways. There's acquisition and there's disposition. Acquisitions is getting the property under contract with the homeowner, and disposition is assigning that contract, basically selling that contract to your cash buyer, investor, end buyer, whatever you want to call it. That is Dispo. So let's talk about it. So we're going to be using the same deal as an example, 610 Crescent Drive. Now, any deal that you have on the Deals app, and if you haven't watched that video, go watch the Deals app video. And any deals that you have on there, they'll pull up on your Dispo app. So we were doing 610 Crescent Drive. This is a new Dispo deal, and then we're going to save it. And we're going to let the CRM do its magic. It takes a couple of seconds. Okay, while everything is loading, I'm going to add the address down here below, just so it can pull up on the map itself. So pulling up. Now I'm going to refresh the page, give it a sec, and we'll get started on the Dispo app. Okay, let's begin. Now I know this might look a little confusing, but this is going to be a summary of all the stuff that we're going to be filling out. Now the first thing I'm going to add is my corp. So direct buyers nationwide, you would add your company. Dispo manager. So if you're doing this yourself, if you're a one-man show, you would be the Dispo manager. You're the one that's handling assigning the contract. Dispo VA, if you have a virtual assistant or an acquisition manager that handles your Dispo, this is where you would assign them. I'm just going to use myself as an example. Your title and attorney. So this would have been all added in your corp app. Remember, we use test. So this would be our title. Lockbox access, I'm not going to add it, but if you do have a lockbox, you can just add a code here so your buyers can have the lockbox access. It also keeps you organized to remember, because sometimes if you're doing multiple properties at once, you might not remember all the codes. All right. So A to B, this is between you and the seller. So back to you and the homeowner. The seller is going to automatically be here. So all your sellers on your seller's app are all going to be here. I'm going to be using SWOT test because it's what we've been using. And then you see how the number and email comes up. The contract. So in your contracts app, so any contracts that were sent out or anything that was sent back is going to be back on here. So I'm going to use the 610, and you see how the offer price comes up and the date, and then walkthrough. So if anyone scheduled a walkthrough of the property, whether it was you, whether it was your boots on the ground, whether it was a real estate agent you hired to go down there, but whoever went down there to take pictures of the property and calculate the rehab, it would also show based on your walkthrough app. So I'm going to use 610 Crescent Drive, and we came up with $69,000 total. So anything here, you can actually press on it and go directly to that page. So this is the walkthrough app. We did it for this address, and we were doing a general assessment of like different things that needed replacement, and it gave us a total. And that's where that number comes from. Let's go back to Dispo. So you see how this stuff is starting to fill out based on the information we provided. All right. So that was A to B. This was between you and the homeowner. Now we're going to be talking about B to C. So this is between you and the investor. So I'm going to use SWOT test as an example here. So this would be your buyer. So your investor that you're either sending this deal to, or someone that's actually going to end up closing this deal. Any showings that they did are going to be added right here. And any offers they gave is going to be right here. Now, keep in mind, you have these web forms in your corp app. So if you remember your corp app, you have this web form and you have this web form. These are links that are added to either your website where you post your inventory, your Facebook page where you post your inventory, your email blasts. You can link these in there, and that way your buyer can actually pick a deal, request a time, and schedule a showing, and then you can improve it directly on your CRM. So that's where the showings came. So whether you plugged in the showings manually, if it was someone that you were talking to over the phone and you plugged them in to schedule a showing, or it's someone that filled out a form and this automatically goes into your showings app. And this is the same for not only showings, but offers as well. So if anyone wants to make an offer on the property, you can send them this link and they can fill this out and it'll automatically come up into your offers app on your CRM. Now let's go back to Dispo. So back to you and the buyer. So we plugged in the buyer, we plugged in the showings, we plugged in the offers in. When is this deal going to close? I'm going to use, let's just do September 30th. Do you have a deposit? Now, for the most part, deposits are due usually 48 hours from the time the buyer signed. You can see this pop up right here. So after they've signed the contract, they have 48 hours to give you a deposit. Now, this deposit is non-refundable. That means if they walk away from this deal, you get to keep that deposit. And this deposit is not sent to you. It's sent to a title company or a closing attorney. Everything is held in escrow. The same with your deposit with the homeowner. it's held in escrow. You do not give the deposit to the homeowner themselves. So 48 hours, is it pending? Has it been received? This is where you would plug it in. Deposit due date is usually 2 days of signing. So let's say they sign today, deposit would be due on the 30th and officially under contract today. Title status. So have they scheduled for title? They usually have about 14 days to clear this contingency. Title really depends on the title company you're working with. We've had titles that came back usually 24, 48 hours, and we've had titles that came back almost 2 weeks long. So they have about 14 days. So we'll set it up for 2 weeks from now. And then their loan commitment. So this is their funding. So most investors that you're going to be dealing with use a hard money lender. And usually they will get a approval for financing or a loan commitment within 5 business days of the contract being signed. So if the contract was signed on the 28th, they have about 5 business days. So we have 1, 2, we're going to skip Saturday and Sunday, 3, 4, 5. So they have until September 4th. Again, these dates can all fluctuate and they're all negotiable, and it all depends on the homeowner, title company, and your end buyer. So every deal is going to be different. This is just kind of like a rule of thumb in terms of when the date should happen. Now let's talk pricing recap. So it automatically brings the pricing. So our purchase price on this deal, which was originally signed, was at $293,000. We want to make $10,000 on this deal. So our dispo for this deal would be $303,000. So that's how much we're asking for the home. So our wholesale fee would be $10,000, which would make our dispo asking price, the price that we're going to sell this contract, at $303,600. So it's just $10,000 plus the purchase price. Usually, if anything is not popping up or anything is taking a little long, just refresh the page and usually comes really quickly. Okay, page is refreshed. Let's go down. All right, here we go. We have our proposed rental, proposed ARV, and we have our suggested dispo price. Now down here below is where you're going to be adding your comparables. Now in your deals app, if you remember, you get comparables based on the property. If you want to use those, just add the sales address and add the sales amount. If you have your own comparables that you want to use, you would plug them in manually, same process. And the reason for this is so that you can create a blast to send to your cash buyers. And I'll show you how that looks. So add your comparables. I'm going to just use just one example to show you guys how it would look. The sale amount, let's say 300,000. This is just an example. Now let's talk about it on the deal blaster. So when you're selecting the buyer, you can select one buyer, so the person that you're dealing with right now and filling this form out for, or you can actually add all your buyers. So you can add all your buyers, your VIP buyers, whatever you want to do. So this is for blasting. This is for sending specific buyers. So if you want to send it to one person, you plug in the person's information and then you generate a PDF flyer, and the system will try to generate one for you. Okay, here we go. Right over here. This is what your buyer would get. You see, it's a picture of the property, the address, some information about the property, the comparables that you added, your after repair value, reno, your LTV, and your dispo asking price. And here would be a folder for your pictures. Here would be the form that I showed you earlier for showings, and this would be the form to make offers. So you can either send this PDF to one buyer or you can send it to all your buyers in your system, depending on how you want to blast this deal. So if I wanted to send it to just my VIP buyers or I want to send it to everyone, I would just click all buyers and I would generate the PDF flyer. I would load my buyers list. So you can see I have 3 buyers on my list. So it generated all of them here. I would load it and then I would send it, and it would send an email blast. And you can see right here, all buyers will now begin sending, and they will get an email and it will look something like this. I just got it on my phone. They get an email of everything that you see on here. So first thing I always recommend is generate it, view it, see if there's any mistakes, any errors. So you don't want to send the wrong information. And then when you checked it, send it out to all your buyers, because you never know. Even though someone says that they only do fix and flips, and let's say this deal was a rental, I would still send it to them, because you never know. Sometimes it might just be a really great deal and you don't want to lose out on any buyers because you're choosing who to send to and who to not. So just send it to all your buyers. Okay, now we're going to be talking about the actual contract part. I know Dispo has a lot going on for it. You got the Dispo Blaster, you got the PDF campaign, you got contract assignments. So there's a lot on this app, but I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible. So this part is actual contract. So this is sending the contract to the investor. We're going to be doing an assignment agreement. If you're going to be doing novations, that would be this button. The end buyer, I'm going to be still using SWOT test. our LLC, our title company. This is all information that you want to add to your contract. So make sure that it's correct on your Corp app because this is attached to multiple different workspaces. Funding, hard money, usually the case. Deposit, I'm going to go with $5,000. It's non-refundable. So if they don't close on this deal, I get to keep the $5,000. And the reason that we do this is so that we weed out the bad cash buyers with the real cash buyers, the people that are actually going to close on this deal. No one's going to dish out $5,000 non-refundable if they're not serious about this deal. The closing is going to be September the 24th. Any additional provisions you want to add, you would add it here. This is the novation section. And then I'm going to just generate a contract. Give it a couple of seconds and we'll have a assignment agreement ready. Right here on the side, you can see it. A lot of the stuff that's happening, you can see it right on the activity tab. Here we have the assignment agreement, has the price, has the deposit, has the homeowner, has your name, has the investor's name, has wiring instructions, just needs to be signed, has all the dates and deadlines, everything is included. So if you like what you see on the contract, you just send it out and it will email it to the investor. Now, buyer addendums is if anything needs to change. Let's say it's a new purchase sales amount. Let's say you want to raise the price or you want to discount the price or update the deposit or anything that would need you to resend a contract. This is where you would add it in your addendum. This is for you and your end buyer. So this is not between you and the homeowner. You and the homeowner is a different addendum. You and the buyer is a different addendum. An addendum basically means you're changing something up in the original contract. Then you would generate it and you would send it out for them to sign. Instead of signing a brand new contract, which you can send them a brand new contract, or you can just send them an addendum straight to their email. Now, here's where you would put the pictures and media of the deal itself, because you want everything organized and in one app. Final closing date, I believe we put it for the 24th of September. And as soon as this deal closes, so let's say you went through the entire transaction, they scheduled title, everything came back clear, they signed the contract, ready to close, everything is good, you move this deal to closings. And if you have any questions in terms of anything, you have your own personal AI assistant right down here. Ask it any question, send it over, and it'll give you an answer. So you have your own personal assistant. Truly doesn't get better than that. Any marketing templates that you might need, like if for a Facebook post, Instagram post, YouTube, TikTok, Loomly, depending on what you use to blast out this deal. We use email, we use Facebook groups, we use Facebook Marketplace, Connected Investor, Craigslist. You want to send this deal to as many buyers, as many eyes as possible to see this deal so that you're able to close it. So a lot of the times people get really scared when it comes to trying to find a buyer. But if you have a really good deal, finding buyers is actually the easy part. Acquisition, finding a homeowner that's willing to take a low price on that deal. If you have a good deal, finding the buyers is the easy part. It's just a matter of having that great deal and sending it to as many eyes and as many faces as possible. That's the way that you're truly going to get your buyers. All right. And any files that you have, so your Dispo flyer, your assignment agreement will all be on the files tab down here. And that is your Dispo app.